While we wait for technology to catch up with us, it's great. Oh, there we go. That's me. I think we're working now. Thank you. It's great to be back at conference. Actually, it's amazing, isn't it? Now, for those who were in Larry's session, you will realize that I'll be picking up on some of the things that Larry said, but I'm going to put them in a context that kind of helps us as individuals who are in a situation that is unprecedented, but which I feel is a continuation of what has been happening before. Some of the things that we say are challenges now were always there, they were just magnified by the pandemic. All right, so I'm just picking up from a bit of what Larry said, but then my context is let's look at a crisis situation. And as we start, I just want to say thank you to a few people, to be exact. Just want to say thank you to Joe Teep, who's the Chief Operating Officer at University Hospital Southampton NHS Foundation Trust, and to Sharon Reid, Lead Infection Prevention Nurse at Western Sussex Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust, because they gave me permission to use some of their tweets and pictures, and you'll understand the madness of that and the reason for that. It's really great to be able to give examples of certain things that will help you to resonate and relate and kind of get ideas on what you can do in your own teams as you try to lead them through this particular situation. Just so that we can be clear about what I'm trying to achieve today. Hold on, I've just dropped my water. Right. For those of you who had, I don't know if a briefing came out, but I won't be looking at leadership theories, and I'm definitely not looking at the COVID-19 situation. What I'm going to be talking about is something that we call compassionate and inclusive leadership. Okay, I don't know how many of you have heard this before, but it's becoming a new buzzword in the NHS. It's already become a big buzzword in business. Okay, and I'm going to be focusing on this style of leadership because I believe it holds the key to where we need to be thinking in terms of leadership in the NHS and other organizations during this particular time and period in the history that we are in. Now, during this presentation, when you see that pink book with a pen, it's just me trying to throw in a hint like, you might want to write this down, okay? So just follow me on that and bear with me. So let's lay the foundation for this presentation, and let's just start from somewhere where we can all be on the same page, on the same basis. What do leaders do? What do leaders do? And what I'm going to propose to you, what I want to submit to you is, I want to say that a leader is a person who influences a group of people towards achieving a goal, right? And they are driven by the right motivation and make positive impact on the people around them. Now, that's an interesting statement in itself, and I want you to hold on to that thought, and let me just present to you what I think are, so far, my top 3 challenges that I think leaders in healthcare, but in other industries, because I have to respect that other industries are represented here. There are top 3 challenges that I believe leaders are facing when you think about the definition I've given you at the top there. And one of them is, how can you as a leader influence people who are emotionally at the end of their tether, right? And what does the right motivation look like? Okay, what drives you? What does the right motivation look like? And then how can you make a positive impact on people around you when there are not many incentives to offer? And the phrase positive impact there is to do with the leader being somebody who's energizing, who's encouraging, who's motivating. Okay, so these are what I think are my top 3 challenges. Obviously, there's more, but I want to focus on these ones because then they help us to unpack this session and hopefully give you direction on how to be a leader yourself. And if you're a follower, how to be a good follower yourself. But actually looking at the room, I would like to submit that actually everybody in this room and those online are leaders in a certain capacity. All right? I'm a lecturer, as you've just heard, and one of the things I enjoy telling my students is, guess what? When I'm done with you and I send you off, to graduation, you are going to emerge a band 5. Do you know what that means? Suddenly, the band 4s and the band 3s are all looking at you. So suddenly, you are a leader. Okay? So I want to think that everybody who is either watching online or in this room is a leader somewhat. So think of yourself and put yourself in the shoes of a leader, even though you don't feel like one, as we're going through this. All right? And so when you look at these three challenges, I think that our answer lies in this concept called compassionate leadership. Okay, but obviously I need to define it, isn't it? I need to define it. Now, I could give you a traditional definition, but the thing about compassionate leadership is it's more about behavior, right? It's more about behavior, and it's more about 4 behaviors to be exact. Okay, so compassionate leadership means 4 behaviors. It means you're a person who's attending to those who you lead, or some people might call it active listening, right? So that's the first behavior. The other behavior is you are a person who's understanding to their struggles and successes, right? That's the other behavior. The third behavior is you empathize with them in relation to their struggles and successes. Now, traditionally, many people use the word empathy to relate to suffering. But actually, have you ever tried to empathize with people's joy? Because that's beautiful when you can do that. And if you're a leader who knows how to empathize with success and challenges that the people are going through, you are in this realm of compassionate leadership. And trust me, you are on route to actually achieving more than you think you can. And then the last one is about helping people, helping people in the moment, helping people in the future. And please don't panic, because for those who know me and my style of speaking, I always unpack things. So we're going to unpack this to make it more manageable, more tangible, more applicable to whatever setting you are hailing from. So I'm going to submit to you. Do you know what? I forgot. The book is in my bag because I wanted to show you. There's a guy called Professor Michael West, who wrote a book on compassionate leadership for healthcare professionals. Lovely book, okay? It's quite thick, but it's a good read. So you see, I'm going to be quoting a few things from him, because actually he's one of the key champions on compassionate leadership. And if you were to go to the King's Fund website, actually anything on compassionate leadership, you always see his name popping up, all right? So I'm going to be quoting a few things from him, because I think he does nail a few definitions and a few things in a very beautiful way. So he says, compassion is a means of connecting with others and establishing trust and warmth. To those who were in Larry's session, do you remember that word? Connection, right? It's interesting, isn't it? It matches with exactly what Larry was saying. People that you are leading are looking for connection, right? They're looking for connection. So who are these others that you're trying to connect to, right? These are the people you love, okay? Hold on to that word. People you love, people you are neutral or indifferent to. And then comes the people on the other side, the people you find difficult, right? Okay? Because leadership, it turns out you can't always pick your followers, but you have to find a way to work with all of them. Those you love, those you're neutral to, and those who you find difficult, right? So hold on to that thought, okay? Let me then, as it were, just bust a few myths, because I don't know, maybe some of you have read about compassionate leadership and then cast it away because you saw the word compassion and you thought, oh man, I do not have time for this. I've got things to do. Okay, so let's clear a few myths when it comes to compassionate leadership. Okay, and here's one of the myths. Compassionate leadership may be mistaken for a soft and ineffective approach to leading in health and social care or in any other business. Like I said, remember, this is becoming a buzzword even in the business world, right? But here's what you need to know. To be a compassionate leader will actually require you to be more courageous and actually have more stamina than a person who is employing command and control. And you will see what I mean by that as we continue through the talk. Okay? So compassionate leadership means creating the conditions through these behaviors of consistently listening, understanding, empathizing, and helping to make it possible to have tough conversations and tough performance management when needed. So it turns out it actually opens the door for you to actually do your job more effectively when you apply it properly. But let's continue. Compassionate leadership ensures a collective focus. Remember Larry's talk, okay? The previous speaker was talking about community. And it turns out compassionate leadership actually nails that on the head. When you apply it properly, you will create a sense of collectiveness, of community, and a greater likelihood of collective responsibility for ensuring high-quality care. Okay? Now, like I said, just stick with me, because as time goes on, we keep on unpacking, and it all makes sense. So the other thing about compassionate leadership is it always comes together with the word inclusive, right? And on this slide, all I just want you to understand and go away with here is, okay, when we talk about inclusiveness, we're talking about everybody in your team needs to feel and know that they are included, okay? Regardless of their profession, regardless of their gender, ethnicity, regardless of their nationality, they need to feel included. So I like this argument, if leadership is not inclusive, then it cannot be compassionate. All right? So just remember that tenet. So that's why we talk about compassionate and inclusive leadership. I'll say, so again, compassion involves attending to every individual, understanding each person's challenge, and then empathizing with every individual and having the motivation to act and help every person. Can you see? It's focusing on these individual people, including them in their difference and supporting them as well in your leadership. So then, when we look at this, you are then presented with this, okay, how do I put this into practice, isn't it? Because you've got these 4 terms, attending, understanding, helping, empathizing. How do you actually put them into practice? And for those who know me, I always love to give cool ways of applying things because I think it makes more sense. Okay? So here's what I'm going to say to you. An amazing, compassionate, and inclusive leader leads by loving their team. Right? Loving their team. Here's the L. An amazing, compassionate, inclusive leader leads by engaging their team. They will lead by engaging their team. They will also lead by appraising their team. Then they will also lead by directing their team. Sounds a lot in some ways like Larry was saying, isn't it? When you think about it carefully. And they are very good at strengthening their team. And please remember the definition of team here. The definition of team here is the team as a whole as well as the individuals within the team. Because sometimes people don't make that distinction. And you must make that distinction, okay? Right? How do you define your team? Well, it's the team as a whole and the individuals within the team. That is team. So, L.E.A.D.S. For those of you who know me from a past life in human factors, I also give you sheep, isn't it? I love acronyms. They just help, really, But we still have a problem. Let's face it, okay? What does it mean? Especially the first one. The first one it would freak people out, wouldn't it? How do I love my team? That's a bit fluffy, Matt, seriously. Matt, be honest, that's fluffy, isn't it? Let's talk about the fluffy one first. Shall we do that? Let's talk about the fluffy one first, okay? Because by the end of this talk, I want you to come out feeling like this. I can keep my team together because I am loving, because I am engaging, because I can appraise, because I can direct, and because I can strengthen. That's my goal for this talk. If I fail to do this, fire me. That's my aim. I want you to come out feeling like you can actually say this about yourself. So let's get on with it, shall we? Let's look at love. So how do you express love in a professional working environment? Well, I introduced to you the concept of companionate love, okay, which has already been defined, thankfully, all right? So what is companionate love? It is less intense than romantic love. Companionate love is based on warmth, care, and connection rather than passion, right? There's a study on it already. Phew. I know, right? I just dodged a bullet there. Okay, but what does it actually look like in practice, right? What does it look like in practice? It means that in practice, now, can I just say, I will, in all the individual points, L.E.A.D.S, I'll only mention 2 things. There's more I could mention, but it turns out these guys gave me 30 minutes only. In the future, tell them to give me more. So what are the first 2 things I want you to focus on when it comes to loving your team? Well, be a person who attends to the members of your team by pausing to notice their suffering and success. Their suffering and success. Okay? That is absolutely key. Because, you see, what I don't want you to come out from this room feeling is compassionate leadership is only about focusing on people's suffering. No. You must actually balance it off. Their successes and their suffering. And then, secondly, empathize with them and remain in the present moment. What does it look like? Let's look at this in detail a bit more. So when you're attending to them, ask about difficulties and challenges, and then listen to the answer. Listen to the answer. Listen to the answer. Okay? I'm going to explain why I keep on repeating that word listen. And then what you do, ask about successes and opportunities, then listen to the answer. Is that okay? So that's you attending, okay? And then when you empathize, tune into their senses and experiences while staying in touch with your own. I don't want you to come out here thinking that the leader is a robot who has to put up with everybody's emotions and forget their own, okay? You must be in touch with yourself as well, okay? Because you need to check yourself. You do not want to be overwhelmed by their feelings to the point of becoming ineffective. Is that okay? So you keep this emotional intelligence about you as well. So here's the thing. In order to be an attending leader and an empathizing leader, you will need to be intentional about attending and empathizing. Okay? So here's a bit of a tip for you. You will need to create space in your diary. In your diary, yes, in your diary. Okay? Because I know all of you have got diaries. Create the space in your diary, because if you do not create the space in your diary, you will never find time to be attending or empathizing. You have to do something, right? Now, it turns out in some teams this already exists. Some people call them check-ins. Some people call them huddles. Other people call them afternoon briefings. I don't know what you call it in your organization. If you do not have it, you need to think about it, okay? And what people do in this time, they switch off the phone for about an hour and they just sit there as a team and go like, how's it going? And they just chat and talk. Usually there's some tea around and maybe some biscuits. And they're just talking, just listening to what's happening in your day. When I used to be a charge nurse in my old team, especially when the pandemic happens, we actually used to have two of them, one in the morning and then one in the afternoon. They were so powerful because it allowed people just to be themselves, to get advice and guidance, to recharge, and to go back and face that challenge, whatever it was going to be. Is that okay? But there are absolutely powerful moments, but they have to be in your diary. Okay? In my current team, we call them team meetings, but to be honest, they are essentially moments of just attending to each other and empathizing with each other, or the leader facilitating all this. Okay? For those of you who thought I was lying, there it is. Okay? I usually give my slides as PDFs. It's actually a study done in a long-term care facility. See what the title is? What's love got to do with it? I know, right? A longitudinal study of the culture of companionate love in a long-term care facility. Very interesting findings they found. So I'm not making it up, okay? People have actually worked hard to work out, can it exist? Can love in the workplace exist? Yes, it can. And in healthcare, if you apply it, you will reap very interesting rewards, okay? So then, the next thing is about engaging your team. So engage my members, the members of my team, so that I can help them increase their engagement with my organization. And here, the definition of engagement is this: commitment and connection to the organization, or in your case, when you're engaging with them, you're attempting to have commitment and connection to them. Okay? Right? So, if you notice, remember I told you that compassionate love actually requires a lot more, doesn't it? Can you see the demands it's making here? So, how do you apply this? Well, spend time with the members of your team and offer them help. Right? Spend time with them and offer them help. How do you do this? Well, help them believe that you value them as the most important resource in your organization. When you spend time with people, this is what you achieve. What else can you do when it comes to helping? Help them in the moment and then help them in future plans. I will explain this concept with an example. And then invest towards making members of your team more successful. That is to say, always review the human factors. I had to bring it in, didn't I? Always review the sheep elements, the human factors elements in your work processes. For those who've never heard my talk on sheep, I apologize. It's a great talk. I can't do it now. Ask them to invite me next year. And I'll do it for you. But I'm sure there's archives somewhere where you can actually find out what SHIP stands for. Basically, it means systems within which you work, the human interaction within the teams and internal and external, the equipment with which you do work, okay, the environment where you work, and the persons within the team that you're working with, okay? That's what SHIP stands for. And there's different elements of human factors that you can resolve the work processes to make it better so that your team is more successful. Right. Now, you're looking at this and you're thinking, how do you do that? You know, I am busy. That's the word, isn't it? I am busy. You know, and you've just challenged me to put it in my diary. Thank you very much, Matt. Okay. So I'm going to do this, right? Remember, I thanked this guy. Okay, I thank this guy. He's a chief operating officer. Now, if for those of you who don't know what chief operating officers do, they are busy people, like seriously busy people, like super busy people, like really, really busy people. But this one, in his really super busyness, he does very weird things in his organization. He actually, once in a while, wears the porter's uniform and transports patients around the hospital. And then sometimes he actually wears the waste operative's uniform and collects and disposes of waste. Weird guy. Don't tell him I said that. Okay? But why is he doing that? Well, it's actually simple. All he wants to do is to spend time with the people he leads, the people on the ground. He is doing it because he wants to engage with them and develop a better understanding of their work situation. And then, so in the moment, he's actually helping them collect waste or transport patients, right? He's actually doing it with them. And as he's doing it with them, they're talking to him about issues that they're facing with. He's actually spending time to what? To attend. Can you see what's happening there? So that when he goes to board meeting and he's now in his suit officially, he can say at board meeting, do you know what? There's things in the waste team that we need to be looking at. And people kind of like look at the table going like, how does he know this? Well, that's because he actually spends time with them, literally. If he can do it, I want to challenge you that I think you can too. But it must be a space in your diary. Appraise your team. Appraisals, they come in two forms. Either you hate them or you love them. I don't know which way you fall, but let me just sell to you why they're important, okay? This is just a definition from Unison because I thought it was helpful, just so that you know what an appraisal is for those of you. I spent a lot of my working career not knowing what it is, to be honest, until later on when I thought, actually, that's a really important thing that we do, you know? So it's about what? An opportunity to analyze your performance, and then to talk about your career plans, to review your progress, and then talk about wider issues with your employer. That's basically a loose definition of what an appraisal is. But why is it important? Why am I trying to tell you that a good leader appraises their people? Well, because there's this key word of understanding, okay? If you want to understand people, there's no way you can do it without an appraisal. You can't do it effectively. So that's why appraisals are actually quite key. Now, I don't know how it works in different organizations, but I usually say, if you can, it's good to have a small number of people that you appraise so that you really get to know them, and then have it kind of like staggered among the leadership, how many people you do this for. Because then you've got this richness of actually understanding people and the team, as it were. So you really truly aim to understand the individuals, and then you really aim to understand the team as a whole. What does this look like? So as for the individuals, you know, how are they performing? Are they growing in their job? What are their future plans? And then genuinely support them. Now, I know it's disappointing when somebody tells you, well, the next few years I want to go to the other organization. That's disheartening to hear as a leader. But listen, you need to tap into their what? Their aspirations. You need to empathize with their aspirations. You need to get excited about their aspirations, because when they feel that you are on their side and you are for their progress, in that time they are with you, they will give you 120%. And sometimes, because you are that person who is really loving and really engaging in their career aspirations, they might stay even longer. Think about it. All right? Okay, so as the whole team, discuss struggles. Don't hide from it. Discuss struggles, you know. And then when it comes to supporting your team, always aim for fairness. Now, fairness is a very difficult thing because there's a problem in the United Kingdom. We try to lumber fairness with equality and diversity. I have a problem with that, and I'm going to explain to you the problem I have with that. Because you see, there's two ways to promote fairness in the workplace. It's either through equality or through equity, right? And I'll explain what those two terms mean shortly. But what happens is, in a work environment, it's dynamic, it's always changing, the situations are always different. So a leader needs wisdom to know how to balance equality and equity when it comes to, you know, making the team fair. But they also need to know situations when they have to apply one of those two principles. Is that okay? And so I'm going to give you a team scenario and explain to you the challenges that a leader must face and why I don't like the term equality and diversity, because it always corners people into think about equality and forget that there's another term called equity, which is very important. So here's a team. Here's a team that's gone to watch a baseball match, right? That's the team there. When you apply the equality principle, short guy will never watch the match. Do you understand? That's the problem with equality, all right? However, if then you're at the same match and you apply the principle of equity, now short guy watches the match. So let me tell you, that's the reason why I don't like the term equality and diversity, because actually it should include equity, Okay? You do not always need to make things equal, because when you do make things equal all the time, somebody will always suffer. However, when you talk to your team openly and go like, oh, team members, we got somebody who's short. Do you mind if I apply the equity principle? Everybody go like, that kind of makes sense, because we want our buddy to watch the match. Does it make sense? Why? Because equality achieves fairness through what? Treating everyone the same regardless of need. And equity achieves fairness through treating people differently according to need. Are we good with that? Fantastic, well done. You're good students. You can come next year. Okay, let's talk about directing. Okay? So, I like this definition by Morris. And she says, a leader must be able to set direction, create a sense of shared purpose, and then guide behavior. This requires developing a clear vision where they want to go as a leader, describing the future in simple language, and then providing meaningful guidance. Okay? So, in practice, what does it look like? You must provide a clear, shared and inspiring vision. And the key word there is clear, inspiring, and don't forget shared. And you must always set SMART goals. You know, many of you have heard about SMART goals, but we need to really understand what SMART goals mean, okay? So when you have shared your vision, also make sure that you are clear about what individuals do. And then make sure that everybody else knows what everybody is doing. So if somebody walks into this room and go like, well, I saw their team, and it turns out the lady on the desk just sits there. That's what Tracy just does, just sits there. And then Matt is doing all the work, okay? But I have to then explain to them, oh, no, Matt is the speaker, right? And Tracy is the chair. Oh, I see, right. Suddenly, I don't have ill feelings towards Tracy. Like, look at her, just lazily sitting there. Do you understand? This is why it's important, because you need to address these things. Okay, so make it clear. Okay, fantastic. And then make your goals what? SMART. Specific, measurable. They should be measurable and they should be achievable. And the term achievable there is about agreed achievability. Because me as a leader, what I think is achievable, my team will think you are completely off your head, mate. So sit down and go like, this is my vision of what's achievable. You talk through it and then you come to an agreed achievable goal, make it realistic and always have a time to it. Is that okay? Track it. Is that fair? Fantastic. And then good leadership is evident when direction, alignment, and commitment are clear and powerful, whether this is in a team, department, organization. And here's how you test it. Go around the different members of your team and ask them the question, what does success look like in our team? So if in that moment everybody's giving you a different answer, then it's very clear that your direction is not good enough, okay? But when your team begins to give you an answer that is close to each other, then you know that actually your vision is clear, your goals are clear, people know what they're doing, okay? So go and test yourselves and just brace for the answers. Okay, finally, strength. This is a book in management and organizational behavior by Mullins and Chrissy, and they found 8 critical employee needs that should be in place to develop passion for work or to make people motivated. Like I said, I'm only going to be looking at 2, right? And the 2 I want to look at is connectedness and recognition. Again, can you see that word has come back again? Yeah, connectedness. People want to feel connected to the leader. If you listen carefully, L.E.A.D. is about connecting you to the people. Yeah, L.E.A.D. And then recognition is about showing meaningful appreciation, okay? So you're building rapport with L.E.A.D. and then you're sharing information. When you have that time to agree your goals, you're sharing information. This is my vision. This is what I want you to do. People hate being in the dark, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So share that information. And then it turns out that although many people enjoy financial perks, not everyone is motivated or strengthened by money. So that means that people receive appreciation differently. This concept came from a guy called Dr. Gary Chapman, who was involved in a lot of counseling couples. And then he discovers that there's something that he called the 5 love languages, right? He discovered that people receive love differently. Now, if I, as a leader, receive love through words of affirmation, as it were, and then I think that's what my team requires all the time, I've got it wrong. Because some people in my team might receive love in a different way. Obviously, when it came to the business world, somebody thought, oh man, we can't use 5 love languages because people freak out, okay? So they cleverly retermed it, the 5 appreciation languages. But it's actually the same principle, okay? So if you want to learn about the 5 appreciation languages, go and find Dr. Gary Chapman's literature on the 5 love languages. It might help your relationships, personally, but will definitely help you in the team and work environment. Because what happened is people who went to his counseling sessions, learned about these 5 love languages, then thought to themselves, my team is about to kill each other. I wonder if these principles will work in the workplace. And they discovered what? It works. It works, you know. So go and find out the love language of your team, okay? And these are the 5. Words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, tangible gifts, and physical touch. Like I said, you know, my slides are available later, and you can get the link, okay? But find out how people receive appreciation, because when you appreciate them in the way they understand, you know, they really feel connected to you. So listen, I'm hoping you can, in some way, be able to say, you know what, after this, I am a bit better. I think I am able to do it now. I am loving, I am engaging, I can appraise, I can direct, and I can strengthen, okay? But here's what's important. We touched on this before. It is important to remember that all these things, L-E.A.D.S, you must be doing them for yourself first. Self-compassion is absolutely key. Here's a statement. Our relationship with ourselves is the basis for our relationship with others. How we relate to others, to ourselves, determines how we relate to others. You must apply these principles to yourself first before you do them to others, okay? It doesn't work the other way around. You need to be in touch with you. You need to be a person who loves you. So I love this. This is where Sharon comes in. I loved it when I saw her tweet, okay? Because I want you to listen to the power in this. And this is what she tweeted. She said, I feel quite emotional. Sincere, heartfelt thank you from the Chief Nursing Officer to 170 IPC leaders at the Florence Nightingale Foundation, thank you, IPC Leadership Boost. So first of all, she knows where to go to get her boost, okay? So she looks after herself. Can you see that? Okay, so she's definitely loving herself, okay? But also, you know, she felt empowered when somebody was showing gratitude. That means whatever happened in that meeting, whatever the CNO said, met her appreciation language. And what did it do when it was met? Now she feels energized. And now she can set direction for others. Now she can go and face the pandemic battle. I didn't ask her to tweet this. It just happened. And I just thought, beautiful. Can I use it, please, Sharon? She was like, yes, Matt, why not? Okay, so let's summarize, okay? Compassionate leadership means 4 behaviors. It means attending to those we lead, understanding the struggles and successes they encounter, and then empathizing with them and then helping them, okay? So an amazing leader loves their team, okay, members, and then empathizes with them. They engage with them, they are present, listen with fascination, and offer help. They are appraising, okay? They seek to understand their team and promote fairness. They are directive, they do direct, they describe the future, they provide clear vision, and they agree goals. And you know what? They do strengthen. They connect with their team and show appreciation. So then, in the end, we can be able to actually give this definition again. A leader is a person who influences a group of people towards the achievement of a goal. They are driven by the right motivation, love. All right? And make a positive impact on the people around them.